Power of the Union Parliament. Now, what do we know about the Union Parliament? What all powers they have? We're going to study here. They have legislative powers, they have financial powers, they have control over executive, constituent function, electoral function, judicial function. If you're asked a question to explain, list and explain, then you will write everything, where you will write the headings, these 6 headings, and you will explain them. If you're asked to write only one power and explain, that means you will write any one power, list it, heading, and then you explain what power it has, or rather in simple terms. The Parliament can make laws on 97 subjects in the Union list and 47 subjects in the concurrent list. Please underline that line. On a subject in the concurrent list, both the Parliament and the state legislature may make the law, but the law of the Parliament supersedes the law of the state legislature. That means the law that is made by the central government is more stronger or more powerful than a state government. What the Prime Minister says is listened to more effectively, or rather has to be followed, than what your Chief Minister may say in your state. They both may be having they may be both in this, obviously they are the same party, but if the Prime Minister makes a certain statement or a rule to be followed, then the Chief Minister has to follow him. Otherwise, normally the Chief Minister, he has his own rules and regulations that he wants to be followed, but the rules and regulations that are of the central government are universal, and they are more powerful, and they are more stronger than what exists in the state. Number 2, the Parliament has the residual power. It can make laws on a subject which is not mentioned in any one of the 3 lists, the Union, state, or the concurrent list. That means the Parliament is stronger because it has the power to make laws which not necessarily have to be in any one of these lists. That, remember, we are studying the powers of the Parliament. So this is also another power that the Parliament has. Under the legislative powers, that means the law-making powers. Number 3, during the recess of the Parliament, the President may issue an ordinance. Now, what is an ordinance? An order issued by the President when the Parliament is not in session, when there is no meeting held, and there is an order passed. Generally, orders are passed after a meeting is held and all, everything is discussed, and the orders are made. But sometimes an order is issued by the President when the Parliament is not in session. Certain order is done by the President. But it must be approved by both houses of the Parliament when they reassemble. The ordinance ceases to operate 6 weeks after the reassemble of the Parliament unless approved by the latter earlier. See, now these are different under the law making, the legislative powers related to the law. These are one powers that the Parliament has. They divide into 3 different categories. Now you have the financial power that the Parliament has. The Lok Sabha controls the national finances. That means whatever money it gets, saving, expenditures. It has the power to pass the annual budget of the Union government for the financial year. That means how much money is the budget. You might have heard in our country every year the budget is passed. That means how much money they're going to save, how much money they're going to spend, how much money they're going to get, how they're going to get that money. All this is considered or decided when the budget is made. So, in the financial powers, the Lok Sabha controls the national finances. It has the power to pass the annual budget of the Union government for the financial year. Lok Sabha exercises more powers in money matters. That means when it comes to money matters, the Lok Sabha has greater power. Once the Lok Sabha passes the budget of the government or any other money related law, the Raj Sabha cannot reject it. That means this is where the Lok Sabha has greater power than the Raj Sabha. If the Lok Sabha decides that this is a certain money related law that needs to be forwarded or passed, then the Raj Sabha cannot change it. The Raj Sabha can only delay it by 14 days or suggest changes in it. The Raj Sabha can give its opinion or delay it or prolong it. The Lok Sabha may or may not accept these changes. Then again, the Lok Sabha has a greater power because remember the number of people are more in the Lok Sabha than in the Raj Sabha. So if there's a certain change made by the Rajya Sabha, the Lok Sabha may either listen to it or may completely decline it or refuse the changes made. Number 3, control over executive. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. They remain in office as long as they continue to enjoy the confidence in the Lok Sabha by simple majority. If you're continuously electing them again and again and they're continuously in majority, then they continue to stay. It's not that they have to retire after 5 years. After 5 years, if they are re-elected, they continue to be in power. There are many governments, you see, they keep coming, they continue their power, in power, staying in power. And number 4, constituent function. The bill to amend the constitution may be moved in either house. It has to be passed in both of the houses by a simple majority or by 2/3 majority as provided under Article 368 of the Constitution. Now there are certain laws. When you want a law to be made or when you want a law to be changed or a little changes to be brought in that law, then it's called amending, right? So that needs to be sat and discussed by both of the houses, that means the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, and the one which has the maximum majority, they have the deciding vote whether the change should be there or not. Number 5, electoral. When it comes to election function, what functions are here? The elected members of both of the houses of the parliament along with the members of the state legislative assemblies constitute the electoral college to elect the President of India. That means if you want to elect the President of India, there has to be a complete, the people directly don't elect the President. The electoral college, who consists of the electoral college, how is it elected, all that, and this we decide, is decided, The Vice President of India is elected by the MPs of both the houses. The Lok Sabha also elects its speaker and the deputy speaker. Number 6, the judicial powers related to the judges and all. The parliament exercises the power to impeach the president. That means impeach means to remove somebody. If the president is found violating the law or if he's found guilty of certain things, then he will be impeached, he will be removed. Impeach the president, vice president and the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts according to the procedure laid down for the purpose. The Parliament can also punish a person for disturbing its working or for showing disrespect for the House as such. That means if anyone tries to misbehave or disrespect, or there's sometimes people commit certain crimes which is not allowed, and they try to obstruct or cause problems in the Parliament. So those kind of people are completely dealt with very strictly by the judiciary. Understand?